It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbers and you are listening to another episode of my podcast. This is a cloudy October day in Turkey, in Ordu, in the Black Sea region. And we have been talking about desire, about this broad term desire the last time, and we had stopped with female attraction. I mean, why black women are not as over-sexualized as white women. We talked about this in gender previously as well as, so in order it is a recap if you want. And there we some sort of noticed it that white women, especially blonde women, are in the center of this over-sexualization. I brought up an example, especially here in Germany, in the German-speaking spheres, those blonde jokes, which are very commonly told, jokes about blonde women. Actually, and not about blonde men in general. So these jokes about blonde women, the key message of them is mostly that blonde women are stupid, that they are some sort of easy to get over-sexualized, or that they use their sexuality quite often, and in contrast to blonde women, of course, brunette women are then portrayed as the opposite, as one who are different, and so on. So this is what we have talked about the last time. I mean, desire indeed has physical attraction as well. We will come to the physical attractions shortly. However, we have to be aware of socio-economical attraction as well. We will talk about this later as well. But these physical attractions, we want to remain in them for a while. But those socio-economical, they play a crucial role. This is I've talked about as well. I mean, money or someone who is successful makes you attractive. So no matter what your physical appearance is, as a man as well as a woman. However, but if we talk about desire, if we talk about attraction, then you see mostly this is again, women are in the center of all attention. This is rather the biological argument. And this biological argument is some sort of derived from the animal kingdom, if you want. And this is that women would always be, or that for women, pregnancy is very dangerous. It is with a lot of high risk, and therefore she would always choose the stronger male. Therefore she would always choose the male who will provide her in the future. And so on, and women would some sort of choose men out of their physical abilities, physical characteristics, or in recent times about their abilities to allocate wealth or their social standings. Beyond doubt, this has something on it, and this is partially true as well. I mean, this has, or this is not so straightforward, if you want. I mean, firstly, we talked about this, and this is that women are still underprivileged in society. Women, there is an existing gender pay gap. There's women who have it stronger. This does not, or have it more difficult called to get into male spheres, male jobs, and so on. Of course, there is some fear as well. This is something we must not. Or it is not only that women are excluded by men. There's of course some sort of a myth built around some male jobs that you have to have some certain abilities. We talked about this, so this some sort of keeps away women. However, this biological argument that women some sort of would want the best man for their offspring, for their children, yes, partially, but this would then mean that women in general would only have merit or would have fornicated with men, with strong men, with good-looking men, or with, if you want, with the alpha male. And this would have not led to that diversity we have today. I mean, this is indeed a very interesting topic. So if you want to see this from a perspective of some sad, and this is indeed something we have to here emphasize as some really disturbing social Darwinism, then this would mean that only those best of the best were able to some sort of spread their genes to the next generation, so the society then would have selected them, whatever. Well, if you see the history of I mean, this is of course a wrong claim. This is not the fact, and this is something you can easily actually claim as false. I mean, if you only see history is full of it, especially European history. There were a lot of wars, and in every war there was always a lot of rape, sadly. Even to this very day, every war means mass rape. Every war means that the woman was and would become a victim, and that wars, especially in wars, in highly technological wars, victory was not rather achieved through some physical superiority, but rather through technical innovations, as well as in other forms. I mean, if you are on the battlefield, this is not one person who has perfect genes. There are a lot of men and women. There are a lot of people on this battlefield who, when they win their wars, then they would loot and rape and so on. So those genes were passed on to the next generation. So there is no such stupid thing like pure genes and so on. However, but this is still some sort of an argument, especially when it comes to biological arguments, that women would always choose the best suiting man. I mean, of course, we will talk about this later. There are indeed some psychological implications which actually do not make women choose the best suitor for their children, neither biologically nor mentally, if you want. I mean, there's always these recurring themes in love stories that she falls in love with a jerk, and then the nice guy comes along and he is some sort of either less good looking or is some way different but homely and so on. So, and this has indeed some truth in it. So it is not that straightforward that the women always choose the best. And of course, in these biological arguments, you never see the opposite side. I mean, it is always so perceived that man would be all want one thing, or that man would be some sort of indiscriminate by his choices. So he would have sexual intercourse with every woman he gets. Well, I would not assume or I would not say that. I think that the biological argument, if you want to use it, you have to use it consistently, and this means that man as well will choose their woman according to what is best to their offspring. I mean, this is what you would assume, and there, of course, you would again have some physical attributes, and this is some sort of even backed by archaeological findings, and this would be that a man would rather choose a woman with big breasts, with big boobs, with big breasts, because he then can assume that she will be able to feed his offspring, or he will choose a woman with broad hips, because this broad hips in a way decreases the likelihood that the woman dies on childbirth, or that and broad hips are as well as in a way that she can bear more children. And if you only see, on social media, if you only see those pics of half nude women, then you, of course, get aware that the breasts are, and asses, so the part of the back of the woman are in the center of all attention. So this is bare biological desire, if you want. So you some sort of choose the woman according what is best to your offspring. Of course, you may or may not think about your offspring if you desire or look at women. Some are more cautious, others not. However, but we have to be very consistent there. And if women indeed choose men for biological arguments, don't. This is, of course, the fact. Women will choose man for biological or physical appearance, as do men. So I think in that sense, man and woman are not different. So even Adonis walks through the door who is trained, has a trained body, which is a sign that he is healthy. Then of course he will draw all attention, as well as when a woman walks through the door with big breasts and the broad hips, and she looks healthy. Again, she will draw a lot of attention. So these big breasts and hips and what have you can see this on social media as well. So they draw attention as well. What we have to talk about here as well is, this is, we will talk about briefly, this is indeed what we have to address here, is that your social desire, or that your sexual desire is partially, of course, determined by the people you are with, by the people you are surrounded with. This is your parents, firstly. So as a man, you mostly will be attracted to, or this is if you want some sort of the psychoanalytic approach, as well as it makes sense psychologically, that man, for example, find characteristics at other women attractive which their mother had, and so on. So that the ideal woman for him is for a man or a boy is like his mother, and so is it for a girl, that her father figure, or that a person she assumes to be the fatherly authority, some sort of has a lot of influence later on which man she will desire. So man and women are in that same clear. So you would then assume that our desire, this is one of the big question of this inquiry, where we of this thought process is, then we would say, things are very easy. Then it is your parents. So this would mean that if you want to know which girl or which woman a man desires, you only have to look at his mother. Then you know what type of woman he is into, and this same vice versa is for women. However, but I think this is only partially true. Of course, they have influence. Of course, your parents have an influence on you, how you see the world, how your emotional investment in the world, if you want. So your approach to the world, but as well as your social situation as well. And of course, I mean, we talked about object. I mean, if something is being considered valuable in your sphere, like an attractive woman in a society, in a male-dominated society. No, well, it is not male-dominated. This is just normal. I mean, I would not assume that it was some sort of different 500 or 1,000 years ago. I mean, if you some sort of had an attractive woman, this was of course some sort of a trademark, or you would some sort of sell it as a trademark of your potence, of your manliness, and so on. And this has not changed. I would not say that this is some sort of recent development. But again, in society, this is some sort of considered as attractive, as well as this is mostly when you see some sort of older man walking, or older man having younger women as their as their lovers, and so on. And the same is true for women as well, but we don't see this very often in women. So there are not many men who have older fiancés, older partners. I mean, Macron is one very famous example. However, because in a society where still those value system of man persists, or the value system, if you want, of manliness persists, this is not being considered as manly. This is not being considered as important, that a young man some sort of has an older woman as his partner. But yet still we have to be aware of this as well. And if you see some sort of sex in the city, we mention it with younger partners for older women, this can indeed enhance their self-esteem, their sexual desirability. So this is no different than man. I mean, an older man who has a younger woman, I mean, some would call it ridiculous. However, for some, this means something, or it some sort of enhances their self-esteem, their manliness, and so on. This plays indeed a crucial part. But of course, we have to answer as well, where are we going this? And here, of course, my argument is that all these psychological effects, I mean, we talked about biological arguments and so on, have of course an influence in that sense, which type of woman we desire, or me, woman, man, we desire our type, our dream boy, dream woman, our dream man, and so on. And this plays a crucial role. But what some sort of comes out of this, and I hope that this became clear, is that it is not all physical. Because if it were all physical, I mean, what is beautiful? This is always a big question. Of course, there are a lot of sayings that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, but what is beautiful is that you have, for example, a perfectly symmetric face, or that you have a perfect, in a way, if you want to say Barbie or whatever, or what is beautiful if you are very proportioned, if all your body parts are in a proportion that you are aesthetic pleasing in that sense, so that you are not obese or whatever, that you look healthy, but in that sense. But however, psychological facts play indeed a crucial role where we see ourselves, or which type of woman or man we desire. So it does not all boil down to a biological argument that we just would choose our partners according to what is best for our offspring. Of course, this can be true. I don't want to deny this. Some will think that way, and this is. I mean, I don't want to say anything against it, but however, this a lot of psychological factors play a role, and we want to delve into those psychological factors as well, because they are very important as well. So, because important in that sense, I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is the media? I mean, if we see some sort of half-naked woman, and if they are white or happen to be white, does this mean that we are all, or does this mean that we cannot escape this, that we cannot get out of this, that we have a special view, or that we have a special perception of women, of femininity, of feminine desire? So what's a woman should look like for us, and so on. This plays indeed a crucial role. This plays indeed a social role, I mean, a socio-economic role as well. But we have talked about this. I mean, we are, if you talking about this, some sort of in a brainstorming way, because of the simple reason that it is not quite clear or what we should think about. I mean, we have a big topic, and this is love, and we have to separate desire from love. And what is the difference? I mean, this will be a very big question in our inquiry, because firstly, love is what we talked about and mentioned it before, is something everyone talks about, is something you hear everywhere with Valentine's Day. Pretty much successful sales and commercial success was Valentine's Day, and so on. So everyone talks about it, but little is known about what is love, and this is indeed a question we have to answer as well. And I would like to some sort of separate desire from love, because desire, as we try to show right now, was actually this is a personal disposition. You want to take possession of something. This is about your own want. This is about for you, this object of the desires. Let's say, as a man, there is a blonde woman. You want to have, for example, to increase your social standing within your peer group. You want to be around this because she's pleasing, attractive, what have you. So you are less, if you want, interested in her personality, but rather in her looks. So you have a physical desire for her. You want to show her to your friends. You want to show her around the world, around the neighborhood, whatever. Walk her around the neighborhood, whatever, so that everyone can see that you are a potent man, and so on. So this may sound for some ridiculous, but this is indeed was indeed common, very common. I mean, I grew up in Austria in the countryside, and some men openly were necessary, or thought it as necessary to show off their women and so on, and prove the world that they are potent men. And you still see this on social media. Some man making pictures. Some man making selfies with attractive women and posting it on social media just to some sort of get approval and so on. So this is indeed desire, if we want to say it, or if we want to bring it to a point, and we will later explicate on this, is rather very subjective, is something you see from your own perspective. You desire an object for your own purposes, for your own satisfaction, because you want to gain satisfaction. And of course, this is again with some sort of bringing love in order to separate desire, so that it may be more clear. Again, we do not know it exactly, the definition. I will again come up with Google definition But before we go on with the definition of love, which I want to again repeat, is that desire as well as has with fear, has a lot to do with fear. Again, I will some sort of bring the example of Sex and the City, the character of Miranda, which I said that it was built on fear as well, because her boyfriend, or fear of the sexuality, fear of the over sexualization. I mean, if you are a woman in a male-dominated society, and if you have to adjust, then of course you feel the over sexualization of women, of other women, so you do not feel very secure in your own sexuality. So you in that sense are attractive to weaker men, so to men you can control so that you can make up for a lack of sexuality, or assumed. Again, these things, they are all psychological. These things, they are all assumed, and you have the opposite of fear. This is some sort of superficial desire. This is what you have with Samantha, where she has a lot of sexual partners and so on. So this is rather what we would call a desire, which is only meant to satisfy your own needs, your own wants, whereas fear would be some sort of you make amends, or you make always compromises because you feel psychologically hesitant. And in the middle, if you want, this is the character of Carrie, and those who watch How I Met Your Mother, this is the character of Ted, the man or the woman who is some sort of seeking real love, real love relationships. This would be some sort of in the middle. And we talked about this, that the character of Carrie is actually not a real character. No, it is only what all those other three characters are not. This is the same with Ted as well. So Ted is not Barney, Ted is not Marshall, and so on. So this portrait, but it is again very shallow, because what is Carrie? I mean, her concept of love. I mean, this is with Carrie in Sex and the City. Excuse me. It is a bit easier because she has Mr. Big Then. He would say, yeah, love is some sort of so outgrow your childish idea, outgrow your naive perception of love, like in Charlotte, and then overcome your fear. Love is to overcome your fear of being not woman enough, of being not sexual enough. This is when Mr. Big marries this younger model, and this is when Carrie can make her peace with it, and this is what she has, which makes her different from Miranda, so that she can some sort of go beyond this fear. And thirdly, love is not superficial like we see in Samantha in Sex and the City, but rather that Carrie has one man she loves, Mr. Big, and she wants him to commit to a relationship. He does not. And the same constellation you some sort of see with How I Met Your Mother with Ted. Ted is not superficial like Barney. He has some sort of a virtuous. He has something in love he believes in. This is what you have in Carrie as well with her column. And Ted, he has something to believe in. He is not superficial like Barney, but he is not some sort of too cautious like Marshall, who married the one woman he met in college, who are rather, if you pay close attention, rather his parents also rather represent his parents. He's some sort of the boy in adult shape, who has not grown up, who still believes, if you want, in love and so on. So, but love, highlight and turn at what love might be, some sort of believe in virtues, believe in something which goes beyond your childish expectation. Again, we will come to that shortly, but we will start with a Google definition. This is some sort of a common ground where we start our inquiry, which I think is very important to separate love from desire. And again, this is a very broad definition, and we will have to work our way through it. And I have to be, before I continue, I have to say this is my interpretation. This is not how it is being said general, despite the fact I Google those definitions. No, I rather Google it because I some sort of want a common denominator where we all can start off. Or I hopefully that you understand what I'm talking about here. It is maybe not. I try not to jump from one thought to another. I try to keep it consistent. However, I don't want to come with all kinds of new definitions so that you might not be able to follow me or understand me. I know that sometimes I rush from one thought to another. I will some sort of keep myself in bay. However, the definition of love, according to Google Dictionary, is an intense feeling of deep affection. And the second definition is a great interest and pleasure in something. Well, now we talked about hate, and in hate we said that hate is the dislike of the existence of something, that you just hate that something exists. There, of course, we have to say that love therefore must be the opposite. So that love that you really have, as it is in this definition, a great interest and pleasure of something, that you have an interest and a liking of the existence of something. This may be an object, but of course, with an object, I think is very problematic, and I will some sort of argue it, that love, that you cannot have love to an object, that you, even though you say verbally that I love my car, I love my home and so on, but yet you cannot have a love relationship with a car, no matter what hardcore car fanatics say. But love always needs a response, and this is what I will some sort of argue in the next coming couple of minutes. And there, of course, existence of this other object, of this someone, we have to be concrete, derives then pleasure and interest. The object love, the person we love, engages us. We want to be with it. We want to have a relationship with it. We want to see ourselves with it. I mean, despite the fact that we talked about women, that they have some sort of social status, or that an attractive woman has a social status for a man, so that he can show off. We, of course, want to not only to show her off, but that she desires us as well, and vice versa. So if you're a woman, then if an attractive man finds you attractive, then you feel yourself attractive as well. So that's why love is, if you want, emotional. It goes beyond physical, because it needs this reply, or it goes beyond your selfish desire, if you want. And in desire, you rather want to satisfy your own need. You rather some sort of this object or whatever it is has some sort of a special meaning for you, and you some sort of want this desire to be satisfied. Your desire to be satisfied. You care about your own willingness. You care about your own needs. Whereas love, if you want, is rather an investment. It is something you put into a lot of work in a long term. Love is not only an individual disposition, because in love you have to think of the other person as well, and of the desire of this other person as well. So this is the main difference in love. Of course, teaches you about yourself and so on. I mean, this may all sound weird, or this may all sound, yeah, of course. I mean, if people hear this, yeah, love, sure. But however, if you want to commit to a relationship, I mean, this is everyone says, yeah, trust. You have to trust people. You have to do this and so on. I have to be around with somebody. I have to be around with somebody. I have to trust them, and you, of course. But in order to live with somebody, you have to be aware that this person has to some sort of make compromises, or that this person that you live with have to heed your desire as well, so that this person you live with, you be like together with, respect your desire, respect your will as well. So love in that sense, it is rather an emotional disposition. Where we talk about desire, you would rather assume this is an imminent satisfaction of your need, or the wish that your desire is immediately satisfied, or is everyone immediately would assume, yeah, this is about sex. So in desire, we would rather talk about a fast satisfaction. We want to feel good. We want to, I don't know, there's an attractive woman we want to have sexual intercourse with her. And this makes us better. This makes us feel better. I mean, of course, it is indeed something you have to think about. Yeah, what does it mean for a man, for man and woman to have sexual intercourse? Why do you derive pleasure from just sexual intercourse? I mean, this is, if you want, this is indeed a very difficult question indeed, because we have talked about that you show around an attractive woman, then you some sort of get already some sort of social verification, that you get a social approval. If you are as a man have an attractive girlfriend, then you get approval as a man, as a potent man, and then everyone would assume, yeah, is it not enough? Is it not enough just to show around an attractive woman? I mean, what is the difference in sexual intercourse? Why we derive pleasure from sexual intercourse? In that sense, yeah. Firstly, is the obvious answer that we would say, yeah, that it is biological. It is some sort of in our DNA that we wanna. That we want to be with someone. Secondly, you would say that we have already brought the biological argument. You could say that you some sort of think of your offspring, beautiful woman, or if you have children with attractive people. According to some sociological research, it is easier if you're attractive, if you, especially as a woman, if you are this Aphrodite, if you are this over-sexualized woman, as well as a man, it is easier. But as well as that, you could then argue, yeah, it is some sort of a psychological disposition, because sexuality has been considered as very intimate. Sex is very intimate, so that this is the only way we can be close with someone. I mean, this is something we have to talk about as well. I mean, some will probably disagree. Sexuality is not very good. It's not about intimacy, because I heard a lot, especially here in the German sphere. In the German-speaking sphere, there is always this notion that love would not need sexuality, that love would not need sex. I mean, I think I heard this so many times. Mostly women say this, where you have to ask yourself, yeah, is it really do you really do not need love for sexuality? Well, I would say it is. Like we said here, I mean, love is a long-term investment in a relationship. It is a deep affection you have for someone, with someone you want to be with, someone. If you want to some sort of use our information from Sex and the City and How I Met Your Mother as well, love is some sort of, you have a somber view of the person you want to be with. You have some sort of clear view to this person you want to be together. You have an affectionate for this person you want to. It is not only about your desire, but as well as about the desire of your partner as well. And then if you have a liking of the existence of something, then you derive pleasure from the desire of this person as well. For example, I mean, if you are a man and an attractive woman finds you exciting, attractive, then you feel, of course, loved or feel appreciated, but you feel desired. This has a lot of emotional effects, and vice versa. I mean, assumably, if you're if you're a woman and an attractive man finds you attractive, then you, of course, will find yourself more likable, more desirous, and so on. And however, love is, if in that sense, a long-term investment, a commitment, a relationship. However, and then it would, of course, mean would be true that you say, yeah, well, love therefore does not need sex, or that can do without sexual intercourse, and that we would have to some sort of, if we separate desire from love, that desire would be all physical, and that sexual intercourse would be part of the desire sphere, whereas love is some sort of solely emotional, and love would be only about your emotional connection, about affection and so on, between man and woman. So between man and woman, well, I think I would disagree. I disagree in that sense, that I would say that love, that sex is about intimacy. I mean, especially in our time about body culture. I mean, if you are some sort of not have your if your body type does not follow the ideal body shape of the society, then of course some women and some men feel uncomfortable showing themselves naked, whatever. And if you stand naked for someone, then you're vulnerable and so on. Then of course this is the first thing, sexuality. You stand naked, or should stand naked, opposite each other, where you see, this is who I am. And then of course your body changes over the years. So in your youth you may be some sort of trained and muscular, and the older you get, you are some sort of not that attractive anymore. That's the reason I think it is important that you always have to have or be with persons, be with partners who are as old as you, or in that sense. However, sexuality is indeed some sort of, we need for intimacy, and it is a way, some sort of intimacy, and sexuality is some sort of very intimate, and you should only share it with some people who really mean something to you. However, but every love relationship, no matter how long it lasts, needs appreciation. And if you appreciate someone, if you find someone desirous, then you have sexual intercourse with them. I mean, if you find your wife with whom you are married for 10 years still attractive, then and have sex with her, then this is intimacy, because this is appreciation. You still appreciate her, you still find her attractive, and you can show this not only by words. I mean, you could say, yeah, I love you, honey, and I want to be with you, but as well as you show it, you have sexual intercourse with her, and so vice versa. So that you have still this connection with, and this is the reason. And there are many as well, which I think that sexuality can be just solely physical, but as well as very emotional, that it can mean a deep connection to someone. And I think it is very important important that we count sexuality as well as love. So love needs indeed an intimacy. I don't want to say sexuality. It needs intimacy and sexuality. If it is the right form, then it is part of intimacy as well. I mean, especially when some partners are married for a long time and so on, so that they still find each other desirous, attractive, and so on. So this was Adam. We will continue with this the next time. This was Adam Kirbas from Ordu in Turkey. We are in the pandemic. I hope that you all take care of yourselves and that you be aware and do not take any risks. Bye.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.